Have you ever met someone who just gets you, who seems to see right into your soul? That's the INFJ charm. But what if I told you that profound empathy is actually a fortress, that their famous intuition is a sophisticated early warning system, and that everything they do, from the mysterious door slam to their sudden disappearances, is all to protect them from one terrifying core vulnerability? This isn't personality theory. This is survival. Welcome back. If you're an INFJ or you love one, you've seen the patterns, the deep conversations that suddenly hit a wall, the intense idealism that can, in a flash, turn into rigid judgment. Most channels will tell you what these traits are. Today we're going underground. We're exploring why they exist. We're uncovering what the INFJ's mind, in its infinite complexity, is really trying to protect them from. And trust me, by the end of this, you're going to see this personality type in a completely new light. First off, check this out. The sudden emotional withdrawal. Let's start with the most famous INFJ trait, the door slam. The sudden, often perplexing, emotional withdrawal. This isn't them being moody or giving you the silent treatment to punish you. That's the surface level lie. Here's the controversial truth. This is an emergency quarantine protocol. The INFJ mind is the world's most advanced emotional processing unit. It absorbs the emotional data of everyone around it. Your anxiety, your sadness, your negativity. It feels it all, and it feels it deeply. But this system has a critical limit. When the emotional input becomes too toxic, too chaotic, or simply too much, their mind slams the brakes to protect itself from a complete system meltdown. We're talking about emotional overload and psychic contamination. The fear isn't of you. The fear is of losing themselves inside your turmoil, of reaching a burnout so severe it leads to depression or a total loss of identity. The door slam isn't an attack. It's a radical, last-ditch act of saving their own soul. Comment below if you've ever done this or had it done to you. Was it misunderstood? And secondly, the relentless pursuit of the truth. Next, the INFJ intuition. Their obsession with patterns, meanings, and the deeper truth behind everything. Why can't they just take things at face value? Because the surface is a terrifyingly chaotic place. This relentless digging is a defense mechanism against one of the most profound human fears, meaninglessness and existential dread. The INFJ mind is terrified of a universe where suffering is random, where actions have no significance, and where life is just a brief, chaotic flicker in an uncaring void. That idea is literally paralyzing to them. So their intuition works overtime. It's not just a cool party trick, it's them building a fortress of meaning. By finding the hidden pattern in your behavior, the underlying structure of society, or the symbolic thread in a story, they are creating order from chaos. They are building a world that makes sense, because a world that doesn't make sense is a prison of anxiety. Their mind protects them by insisting against all odds that everything must have a purpose. Thirdly, the ideological judgmentalism. This might be the most controversial trait. INFJs are called the advocates. They're known for compassion and understanding. So why can they be so shockingly, brutally judgmental towards people who violate their values? Here's the spicy take. This rigid judgment is a firewall. It protects them from moral compromise and spiritual corruption. An INFJ's identity isn't built on their job, their hobbies, or even their relationships. It's built on a foundational core of non-negotiable values. Their mind perceives any threat to this value system as an existential threat to their very soul. So when someone is cruel, dishonest, or manipulative, the INFJ doesn't just see a person making a bad choice. They see a carrier of a virus that could infect and destroy their entire world. Their harsh judgment is an immune response. It's their mind screaming, "This person or idea represents a path that could lead me to become inauthentic, evil, or lost. A fate far worse than being alone." It's not about hating others, it's about protecting the sanctity of their own spirit. And fourth, get this. We're talking crafting elaborate, wild, future scenarios. Why does the INFJ brain constantly live in the future? Why are they always running a million simulations of what could happen? It's not anxiety. Well, not exactly. It's psychological preparedness. This habit protects them from devastating surprise and powerlessness. The INFJ mind is deeply scarred by past experiences where it was blindsided. A betrayal they didn't see coming, a conflict that erupted from nowhere, a sudden change that shattered their world. Their greatest fear is to be caught off guard and powerless like that again. So their intuition becomes a pre-living machine. By mentally experiencing a potential negative event, a breakup, a failure, a confrontation, 100 times before it happens, they perform a psychological trick. If the bad thing actually happens, the emotional blow is lessened. They've already felt it, they've already grieved it, and crucially, they've already plotted an escape route. It's their mind's desperate attempt to control the uncontrollable and never, ever feel that helpless again. And fifthly, we've got the habit of over-explaining. Now, let's talk about a subtle but draining sign, the compulsive need to over-explain. An INFJ will often provide a paragraph of context for a two-word answer. Why? Here's the controversial part. This isn't just thoroughness, it's a preemptive defense against being misunderstood and perceived as a bad person. The INFJ mind is haunted by the gap between their intricate internal logic and how their actions might be perceived externally. They know their motives are complex and layered. They fear that a simple no or a brief response will be interpreted as cold, rude, or malicious. So they build a fortress of words. By meticulously explaining their reasoning, context, and emotional state, they are trying to bridge that gap. They are trying to force the other person to see the whole truth of their intention, to prevent any possibility of being unfairly judged. It's an exhausting attempt to control the narrative around their character, to avoid the profound pain of being seen as something they are not. Last but not least, the ultimate shield, it's the fear of being totally, utterly known. We've arrived, the core, the final boss. Every single defense mechanism we've talked about, the withdrawal, the truth-seeking, the judgment, the future casting, all of it funnels down to protect the INFJ from one ultimate vulnerability, the ultimate rejection. From a young age, INFJs feel like aliens. They know their inner world is too intense, too complex, too dark, too bright, too much. They learn to curate a version of themselves that is palatable, kind, and insightful. The advocate persona, you see. But behind that persona is the real self, raw, chaotic, passionately loving, and fiercely dark, and they are terrified of it. The mind's ultimate logic is this: if they reject the curated, acceptable version of me, it will hurt. But if I were to ever show someone the true, unfiltered, chaotic core of my being, my deepest fears, my darkest thoughts, my most intense passions, and they were to reject that, it would be annihilation. It would prove my deepest fear, that I am fundamentally unlovable. So what is the INFJ mind trying to protect them from? It's not just pain or sadness. It's protecting them from existential annihilation, of the self, of the soul, of meaning itself. If you're an ENFJ, I hope this makes you feel seen, not broken. Your walls were built for a reason. And if you love an INFJ, I hope this helps you see the profound fear behind the mystery. Their love is deep because their fear is too.